Hey guys, this is Xfox here, and I got a few emails asking about, how do I like my Sage in Star Wars The Old Republic, and what are some of the moves, and what do they do? So, it's actually someone also asked me too, why do I like to play the Sage? Why didn't I play like a Jedi DPS? Well, the reason is a lot of the times, groups are looking for healers or buffers, and so, you can never have too many of those guys, so that's the reason why I picked the Sage, is because I always wanted to be part of a group and help out, and just heal them and protect them people as best as I can. So I'm only level 16, and some of you guys asked me what are some of the skills that I have and what do they look like and so forth. So I'm going to go across the ones that I really don't use much. I have this one here called Force Potency, and what this does is when it basically when you cast it on yourself, or you cast it, basically your next few hits are going to do a little more damage if you hit them with your lightsaber, or if you look over there, if it does my telekinesis throw and some of my other stuff, it enlarges my range so I can hit them from a little farther away. I don't use it all that often, so yeah. Anyway, so the next thing that I do is Force Valor. So I pop this all the time, and this is like sort of a mini buff for myself and then anybody else who's in my group. So you can look over there, it increases the target strength, aim, willpower, cunning by 5%, and the internal and the elemental damage reduced by 10. So it slightly buffs your guy as well as gives your guy a little bit of or the other people is a little bit of a sort of protection from some of the other guys and their elements. So the next one here that I have is called Force Armor. Now you can cast this, of course, on yourself or anybody else. It lasts for 30 seconds, or actually it looks like 20 seconds. And what it does is basically gives your guy just sort of a quick shield here, and it absorbs a lot of damage that's coming in. So you see me constantly casting this all the time to basically protect some of the damage that's coming into myself or another guy or something like that. Then, of course, you have Deliverance, and what this does is basically it's sort of like a heal. It does, about, what does it say, 500 to almost 600 health. It takes about 2 to 3 seconds to cast. Then, of course, you have the Benevolence, which is technically the same thing, but it's about a second to a second and a half faster, but it doesn't heal as much. It only heals about half that, so it only does about 250 worth of heal. So depending on how quick you gotta heal, you can use either or. Typically, I'll pop both of those just to, heal up the guy pretty quick. Then, of course, I have Sprint. It increases my movement speed by 35% while I'm not in combat. I pop it every once in a while, but don't really use it that much. Force of Will, I've never actually really used this. What it does is it demonstrates your Force of Will, immediately freeing you from all incapacity movements. So I guess if you're stunned or you're held up in the air by the Sith doing that choke move, you can pop this and get rid of it. I've never really used it. You typically stick to these bottom ones down here. One you'll see me use a lot, of course, is Force Wave, and Force Wave will knock basically when you go up to or you have a group of mobs around you, you hit it, it'll push all of the mobs out, sort of knock them back. Then, of course, Double Strike, it's just a quick double strike, and each hit does about 100 worth of damage. I don't really use it because it doesn't make my guy much or help my guy much at all. Quick Travel, I don't really talk about that one. We do have Weaken Mind. It's basically a dot, so it does about 300 damage over 15 seconds, so it's pretty cool. You have Force Speed, which of course increases your speed by 150% for 2 seconds, and it doesn't break stealth. I haven't really used that much. Of course, we have Channel the Force, and this, of course, summons the Force to your aid and companion, immediately finishing the cooldown on Force Stun and all those, so it's a pretty cool item. You see me use Disturbance a lot. This is, again, just a long-range sort of nuke. Does about, 220 damage there. Mind Crush is pretty much the same thing. Has a high cooldown, but does about 200 damage. Does about 200 damage in initial hit, and then does about 300 damage in an initial dot over the next 6 seconds. Force Stun is pretty cool. It does like about 120 worth of damage, and then right after that, it goes ahead and stuns them for 4 seconds, it says. So you see me use that one quite a bit. Force Lift is pretty good. So what it does is if you have 2 super hard dudes and you can beat one of the guys all alone, what I'll do is Force Lift one of the guys and then target the other guy while the other dude is Force Lifted in the air for about a minute. Then, of course, Project, and that brings up that rock, sends it out to a mob, it hits them, And then, of course, telekinesis throw is pretty straightforward. It deals quite a bit of damage, so it does about 500 damage, and you know, sends those rocks their way. So I'm going to show you what a few of these are like. Again, some of you guys asked me what the moves are like and why I picked the Sage and so forth. So here we go. I'm going to show you what some of these are. So I'm, of course, going to go ahead and pop this. Oops. Go ahead and pop that. And here we go. So the first things first, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and weaken mind. Oh, she wants to roll. So what I'll do up here is I'll go ahead and cast, show you what that does. Gives them that shield right there. I'll go ahead and cast weaken mind. Go ahead and have force speed on myself. Do a little disturbance. Let's see what that looks like. Let's scoot back a little bit here. Cast mind crush, as you guys can see that. Cast force stun. You can see she's stunned for a little bit there. Go ahead and project. Here's what telekinesis looks like. And what I'll do here is I'm going to go ahead and show you what the heals looks like here. So I'm going to use deliverance here. As you can see, heals up pretty good. Now I'm going to go ahead and cast benevolence, which is the quicker heal. So I'll go ahead and cast deliverance again. I'm going to go ahead and cast the shield just to heal him up. You can see there's really no way that this person's going to beat my dude as long as I sit here and heal him up and keep casting the shield on him. So there you go. Hopefully that gave you guys a good idea or a quick overview of the skills that I have at level 16. I know, again, there's a lot of you guys out there who are a lot of high level, you know, super high level than me, but I had some people sort of ask me, you know, what level I'm at, why I picked the Sage, and what are some of the actual skills and what do they look like at this level. So hopefully that helps some of you guys out, and thanks again for watching, and have a good one, guys.